Nice try.
All right, I'll get that scheduled. Next time around.
Call to order the Committee of the Whole meeting for Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. If you'll all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, will you call the roll?
Will do, Mr. Chairman. Alderman Redpath.
Here.
Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford.
Here.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderwoman Notariano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Connolly.
Present.
Alderman Donelan.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mr. Chair, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the Tuesday, May 30th, 2023 committee meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Treasurer's report. Madam Treasurer.
Thank you, Chair Donelan. The Treasurer's report for the corporate fund for the month of May. The beginning balance is $67,056,027. We took in total receipts of $17,401,161. We had total disbursements in the month of May totaling $9,449,734, which left the corporate fund ending balance in the month of May at $75,007,454. The ending general fund balance includes $21,867,158, which is the May ending balance of the ARPA money. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. Is there a motion to accept the Treasurer's report as submitted? Motion by Mr. Carlson, seconded by Ms. Purchase. All those in favor, is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. Treasurer, do you know how much of the ARPA balance is unallocated currently? And if you don't know now, maybe we could just get an answer for that later.
Sure. I actually asked the budget director that last week, and she said that that was all accounted for.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. There is one presentation scheduled. Mr. Keenan from the county is going to speak. However, we're going to do that when that ordinance is up later in the agenda. The chair would like to entertain a motion. Let's get through the ordinances tabled and remaining in committee, but we'd like to move one to the front. So ordinances tabled or remaining in committee, agenda items number 2022-384, 2023-86, 2023-173, 201, and 202 and 203 remain tabled or in committee. Anybody would like to act on any of those? Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to move to the front of the agenda 2023-272, which is the last item on your agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion to second to move that. Mr. Clerk, will you read the ordinance?
Will do. You said 272?
Yes, sir.
All right. 2023-272, an ordinance authorizing execution of a redevelopment agreement with Bloom Springfield, LLC, for financial assistance for the property located at 2 South Old State Capitol Plaza, utilizing Central Area Tax Increment Finance Funds through the Office of Planning and Economic Development for an amount not to exceed $29,000.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
What's the motion for?
Consent.
Motion's for the consent agenda. There is a second. Any discussion? Alderman Gregory.
I do have a question. I see this. It says requesting use of central area tax increment funds of 50%. I thought we had a 33% rule. Can somebody explain that to me?
Director, thank you.
Alderman, that was a policy that was from previous administration, and I know that our current administration has not had the time to put forth some policies concerning tips. However, it was my recommendation to her that we go with 50% since this was a life, health, safety issue, and we've got older buildings downtown, and to me, it was very, very important that we have a sprinkler system in this older building. So that was my recommendation to the mayor.
I respect that. I just, when we set a precedence like this, others are going to.
And I think what we will be doing is reviewing each request as they come.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, thank you. That precedent, we did have a precedent, and it got, I think there's been numerous times where it's been broken, and I think 50% is what we've kind of moved to, so I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it. I just more for follow-up purposes, Mr. Don. I don't have a problem with it. I just, when we do it on a case-by-case basis, we run into people, feeling like favoritism and da-da-da. So that's my only concern. So thank you, ma'am.
I understand.
Alderman Hanauer, are you done?
Yeah.
Alderwoman Purchase.
I'll let Alderwoman Conley go because I wanted to ask if they wanted to come up and say anything.
Alderwoman Conley.
Yeah, Director, is this going to be on the reimbursement model again?
Yes,
So-
yes, it will follow the TIF model of reimbursement, yes.
Okay. And all work has to be done prevailing wage and?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, Alderwoman Conley, are you done?
Is my mic on?
Doesn't seem like your mic's on. Want to
That
borrow
might
mine?
just me. No, thank you. That one looks busy.
Anybody else have any questions? I did have the same question, Alderman Gregory, and I think the spirit of the 30%, just given my opinion, is a good, we'll just say, it's a good policy to at least try to adhere to. I know there are circumstances such as this that deserve special consideration because it is life safety, but I appreciate the explanation. Any further comments? Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, and I actually, I have no problem. I think we ought to set a set it and go with it. I like 30%. I think 40% is probably doable. I know some people talk that 50 is, but I don't think we should be 50% in. I did have concerns when we did the sports complex, but given the potential of that and the amount of money involved, I kind of changed my mind. But I think that honestly, for most of it, I think we should set a precedent. I think it's easier for you guys. You guys know where we can, where we go, and if something special comes up, such as like a Shields or a whatever, then we can look at modifications, based on that. But I do think it would be good to set a limit of, maybe 40% or whatever, but as we go forward.
Director, is this the building that is adjacent to the old chamber
Yes.
office? Okay,
Yes.
so it'd be to the east of there, am I remembering correctly?
Yes,
All right,
east
thank
of
you.
there, yes.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so,
Mr. Williams?
so your, so would it be you, would it be the mayor, would it be the city council? Who determines the percentage?
Corporation councils, is this more of a policy or?
Ultimately, the decision's up to this body. Ultimately.
Okay, so I want us to be conscious of the look. This may be legit and it may pass, just like, the sports complex, but then are we basing it on merit? What are we basing this on? And who is it that's making that determination? Because it could come off, like Alderman Gregory is saying, that, people could raise concerns, well, that's not important to the council because of where it's located or who it is or whatever. So I'm hoping that we can come up with a consistent policy, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Williams. Any further discussion?
Yes, I would like to allow them to come up and speak.
Okay. Would you like to come up and speak? And as you approach the podium, please identify yourself.
My there, my name is Brittany Robinson, and I'm one of the owners.
I'm Caitlin Becker. I'm one of the other owners, and our third owner couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately.
Could you speak closer to the microphone? I can't hear
I
you.
don't know if it's on.
Is it on? Okay.
Yes,
They
but we
just look
are
great.
so excited to become part of the downtown community and kind of bring a little bit of flair to downtown with wine and flowers, and hopefully, get downtown back to where it used to be.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for your interest in downtown.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? The motion is for the consent agenda. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
CWLP 2023-230, an ordinance authorizing change order number 1 and additional funding in an amount not to exceed $5,665,567.49 with Siemens Energy Incorporated for the interstate combustion turbine generator rewind and overhaul for a total amount payable of $13,758,833.90 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move for consent.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion?
Point of order, I think, isn't that 13 million?
Yes.
13,758,883.90. Okay. You
Need it?
said 13,000. I
sorry.
wish it was 13,000.
Yes. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2023-231, an ordinance accepting proposal number UW24-06 with municipal pipe services for installation of 24-inch water transmission main line stops in an amount not to exceed $55,000 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-232, an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing contract UE 24-04-18 portable demineralizer services for the Donelan Unit 4 and interstate combustion turbine for Viola WTS USA Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $1,710,960 over a 5-year term for the Office of Public Utilities.
Consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-233, an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing contract UE 24-04-19 furnish and deliver diabasic acid 5 years with Kimtreat Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $447,600 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-234, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Trimble Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $102,000 in regards to CWLP Vegetation Management Pilot Project for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion?
Actually, could we
Alderwoman
have-
Conley.
Thank you. Could we have Doug Brown come up just for a second, please?
Mr. Brown?
Director, I hope you know, I'm sure you know that the manner that CWLP trims trees is a frequent topic of conversation and complaints. Will this LiDAR, I guess, can you just kind of maybe explain a little bit more about what this pilot project is going to do and what impacts, positive, negative?
This pilot project is really more for determining, so basically when we route our tree trimming, we basically set, the routes
Right, the cycle.
over
what's
like a
gonna be
5-year
done.
period.
Yeah.
And we don't go back until it's time to go back.
Right.
Based on time. This is to look at if there's a way to adjust, to where if there's an area that's overgrowing faster than another, is that gonna change that to where, we'd be.
Focus trimming, maybe?
It's going back to an area that it really is not meeting the line clearance. We're not gonna trim an area until it's time for line clearance. Otherwise, you're gonna be trimming twice as much or 3 times as much. That's not the point of this. This is to look at areas that might be more overgrown versus when it's based on time purely.
I mean, I think it's a really interesting idea. I appreciate you looking at alternative ways to track where branches are interfering with power lines. So I mean, I'm very much in favor of this. I just wanted to give a little bit more of an explanation as to what we're expecting from this. So thank you very much.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Public Works, 2023-235, an ordinance authorizing execution of an annexation agreement between the City of Springfield, Illinois, and Matthew Seago and Elizabeth Seago for property located at 5 Lamplighter Lane.
Motion for debate.
Second.
Motion and a second for debate. And just for everybody's education, including mine at times, I need to be reminded, when we have an annexation agreement, I believe there's a public hearing, so those need to go on debate. Okay, there's a motion and a second for debate. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-236, an ordinance annexing certain described real property located at 5 Lamplighter Lane.
Motion for debate.
Second.
Motion and a second for debate. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now,
Mr. Chair?
yes, for the agenda items, the chair will entertain a motion to put agenda items number 2023-237 through
251. And
251 and 253 on an omnibus vote.
Move.
Second.
Motion and a second. These all pertain to the Springfield Rail Improvements Project. So motion and a second. Any discussion on the omnibus vote? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, will you read the ordinances?
2023-237, an ordinance authorizing supplemental relocation expenses for the acquisition of property owned by Reese in Langheim, occupying parcel SR 0080, 1009 North 10th Street, in an amount of $2,900 relating to the usable segment 6B of the Springfield Rail Improvement Projects for the Office of Public Works. 2023-238, an ordinance authorizing supplemental relocation expenses for the acquisition of property owned by Kevin Hughes and Diana L. Hughes, occupying parcel SR 0038, 1332 East North Grand Avenue, in an amount of $7,400 relating to the usable segment 6A of the Springfield Rail Improvement Project for the Office of Public Works. 2023-239, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental relocation expenses for the acquisition of property occupying parcel SR 0030, 1321 North 15th Street, in an amount of $11,800 relating to the usable segment 6A of the Springfield Rail Improvement Projects for the Office of Public Works. 2023-240, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Kevin Hughes and Diana L. Hughes for the purchase of real estate to be used of right-of-way located at 1328 East North Grand Avenue in an amount of $14,000 and closing costs in the amount of $1,500 for a total amount not to exceed $15,500 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6A for the Office of Public Works. 2023-241, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental relocation expenses for the acquisition of property occupying parcel SR 0043, 1320 East North Grand Avenue in an amount of $17,600 relating to the usable segment 6A of the Springfield Rail Improvement Projects for the Office of Public Works. 2023-242, an ordinance authorizing supplemental relocation expenses for the acquisition of property occupying parcel SR 0045, 1308 East North Grand Avenue in an amount of $30,800 relating to the usable segment 6A of the Springfield Rail Improvement Projects for the Office of Public Works. 2023-243, an ordinance authorizing a contract with G&M Renting and Leasing, LLC, for the purchase of real estate to be used as right-of-way located at 1321 East North Grand Avenue in an amount of $30,700 and closing costs in the amount of $1,500 for a total amount not to exceed $32,200 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6A for the Office of Public Works. 2023-244, an ordinance authorizing supplemental relocation expenses for the acquisition of property located at parcel SR 0036, 1336 East North Grand Avenue in an amount of $38,100 relating to the usable segment 6A of the Springfield Rail Improvement Projects for the Office of Public Works. 2023-245, an ordinance authorizing supplemental relocation expenses for the acquisition of property located by owned by James Goldsberry Jr., occupying parcel SR 0051, 1130 East North Grand Avenue in an amount of $38,500 relating to the usable segment 6A of the Springfield Rail Improvement Project for the Office of Public Works. 2023-246, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Kevin Hughes and Diana L. Hughes for the purchase of right-of-way located at 1332 East North Grand Avenue for an amount not to exceed $39,500 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6A for the Office of Public Works. 2023-247, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Multone Incorporated for the purchase of real estate to be used as right-of-way located at 1126 East North Grand Avenue in amount of $38,500 and closing costs in the amount of $1,500 for a total amount not to exceed $40,000 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6A for the Office of Public Works. 2023-248, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Multone Incorporated for a purchase of real estate to be used as right-of-way located at 1236 East North Grand Avenue in an amount of $40,325 and closing costs in the amount of $1,500 for a total amount not to exceed $41,825 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project's usable segment 6A for the Office of Public Works. 2023-249, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Loss Investments 2021 LLC for the purchase of real estate to be used as right-of-way located at 1234 East North Grand Avenue in an amount of $40,600 and closing costs in the amount of $1,500 for a total amount not to exceed $42,100 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6A for the Office of Public Works. 2023-250, an ordinance authorizing a contract with POP-DID Properties LLC for a purchase of real estate to be used as right-of-way located at 1633 East North Grand Avenue in the amount of $45,500 and closing costs in the amount of $2,000 for a total amount not to exceed $47,500 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6A for the Office of Public Works. 2023-251, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Caritas Hall Association for the purchase of real estate located at 901 Converse Avenue for an amount not to exceed $124,694 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6B for the Office of Public Works. And you said 253 also?
Yes, sir.
Okay. An ordinance authorizing 2023-253, an ordinance authorizing a contract with C.H. Reed Properties LLC for a purchase of real estate to be used as right-of-way located at 1613 and 1615 East North Grand Avenue in an amount of $268,400 and closing costs in the amount of $4,000 for a total amount not to exceed $272,400 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6A for the Office of Public Works.
Mr.
Consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for consent. Mr. Clerk, that was well done.
Take a
Like
couple
you're an
breaths
auctioneer
now.
again, Frank.
Any discussion? Any
Yes,
discussion?
sir.
Any
I'm
discussion?
sorry.
Alderman Williams.
I'm not using.
It's okay.
this.
Go ahead.
Listen, can Public Works come up or, so these properties are across from the ballpark, and me and Alderman Rockford already have gotten the complaints, that is coming in through the system. So the fly dumping and the mattresses and furniture, when they empty out the whole blocks like that, it is a mess. I mean, it's very ugly. It's a mess, I guess, with people trying to do activity at the ballpark is what they're complaining about. When we did 10th Street and brought up all those properties, again, buying them up, we got them boarded up and everything, and then, homeless and other people kept unboarding them back and forth. Is there any way we can expedite, or maybe I should ask it different, what's the timeline on the demolition?
One of the difficulties that we're facing is the asbestos abatement. For the inspectors to go into these facilities, these homes, they have to examine the homes, and they are in sometimes occupied. So the inspectors don't feel safe going in, so we have to coordinate with the police to make sure that we can get everybody in. So that's one of the things that's really slowing it down. As far as the fly dumping go, I was in there with the solid waste crew just this past week, and we've got a lot of repeat offenders. As soon as they clean it up, and these aren't just a couple of trash bags. It's mattresses, furniture, yards and yards of carpet. It takes a great effort to keep it cleaned up. And in a week, 10 days, they come back and it's been dumped on again. So it's very aware of the problem, and we're addressing it as best that we can.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate that, Director, because I know from the experience on 10th Street, we're not going to satisfy the people. We're going to get the complaint, because it appears that the city's creating this really horrible situation and trying to explain to people, well, in time, they'll all be gone and we'll get them down, but they don't know how trying to remove something so dangerous can be, take time, to make it even safe for workers to come in to demolish it, So I'll stay in touch with you. I'm quite sure Alderman Rockford will stay in touch with you, and we'll just try to keep things calm. It is kind of bad to have the public coming into the public arena or the ballpark and doing those activities.
Yes.
And then look over there. So as quickly as we can, I appreciate it.
As quickly as we can, yes.
Thank you.
Alderman Gregory.
I would just I'm in agreement with Alderman Williams. We do experience a lot of fly dumping and different things, as you know, Mr. Fuchs. And I know that we're in the process. I see various things on the agenda of tearing down a lot of homes, and we'll be doing that. I'd like to encourage you to reach out to our operating engineers. I know before, years ago, they were willing and eager to really help us out with some of those demos on training purposes. I had a great conversation with them at one point in time, and hopefully now we have the manpower to really make an impact in this area together. All right,
Sure
thank
do
you,
that.
sir.
Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, thank you. If this is an area that's continually, especially now that we bought the properties, I don't know, maybe we can coordinate with Chief Scarlett and get the sky cam or get something over there that's, you know, a trail cams or something, try to catch people that are doing it. I mean, the sky cam would definitely be a deterrent because the lights are flashing and they know they're on camera. So if it's an area that we're starting to see a lot because we're buying this up, we need to start looking at that. I think that would be something, a good use of it at least. So,
Alderman Rockford.
Yes, and piggyback off that, Ralph, you know, on the east side is where the habitual, it's the same people doing the same stuff, and Public Works had said that there'd been some cameras purchased, and I don't know what the holdup is on putting them up, or if there's liability or some kind of restrictions. But I mean, we did it at the lake with trail cameras when we were getting fly dumping, and it works. You know, you have to go searching sometimes through the garbage bags to find letters and open mail and this kind of stuff, but it works. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Redpath.
You know, I think we ought to also reach out to Crime Stoppers and put a bounty on these folks. And money talks, and I guarantee you people will turn them in. In addition to the Skycam, the license plate readers, Ralph, would probably be a good resource for us, because once we catch them, we got to crack them. And if our fines aren't enough, we have to figure out, raise our ordinance fines or talk to the circuit court about stiffer penalties on these people, because it is habitual people that are doing it all the time. I mean, it's crazy, because we give them opportunities when they got big appliance or loads that they want to get away. We take it. I mean, we give them every opportunity to help them do it, but they continually take the money from the people, and then they run up and down the alleys and dump it in these people's neighborhoods, and that's just wrong. So I think we might want to reach out to Crime Stoppers.
Chief?
Yeah, just to touch on really the points that you all have made, we do have a lot of technological advancements that we can utilize, and it's important that we have evidence, obviously, when we're going to hold people responsible for some of these issues. As petty as they may seem, we still need evidence to verify who did what. So cameras, LPRs, Crime Stoppers, great use of our resources. We'll certainly do that, and we have been partnering with Public Works, I believe, on some trail cams as well. So we'll continue to do that and look forward to solving it, for sure.
Great, Chief. Thanks for those comments. You know, we have, it's this, I'm glad you brought it up, because this seems like it might make, you know, if they're going to be empty for a while, it could get worse. So it's something that needs to be on the radar screen, pun intended. But, you know, we have an area over by St. Agnes, that ramp that goes on to Madison, Chief, that you were shaking your head. We've been trying to catch people. It's the same Coke cans, it's the same bottles, it's the same banana peels, it's the same diapers. I hate to be gross, but it's true. A guy I know that lives, backs up to that, he's picking that stuff up every single week, so it's all over. And it's a big deal to the neighborhoods. It may not be a big deal when it happens in one area to another area, but we got to keep our city clean, so I appreciate all the efforts.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
follow up.
Alderman Redpath.
Alderman Rockford's right, because when he was out there with Lake Services, they caught him with trail cams, and it worked. And we rocked some people out there. So
I love it. Alderman Hanauer.
yeah, and I don't know what our fines are for fly dumping, but I'd be in support, because again, we get it out west. We get, you know, along Archer, along you know, Cockrell. We get fly dumping as well, and I would be in support of raising our fines and you know, kind of putting some more teeth in it, because if we catch them, I mean, slapping them with $100 fine isn't going to do a lot for some of these people. What we got to do is we need to hit them hard. And so Corporation Counsel, if you could research that, and I would be interested in putting something in, or, we can all sponsor it or whatever, and raise those fines and raise the penalties at least, and maybe including a progressive type deal. So I would appreciate you looking that up.
Yeah, we can look at increasing our fine schedule for that particular violation.
Alderwoman Natriano.
Thank you, Chair. So y'all have mentioned that it might be like companies or the same people doing this. So is it time for us to look at regulating people who will come by and take your trash away? Like they have to be licensed by the city? Have we already done this?
We have an ordinance on the
Yeah.
books.
we have an
Oh,
ordinance.
okay.
But
Well then,
Yeah.
The county actually, trust me, I've been through this, but the county actually license waste haulers and those people, who dabble in that. We have passed some ordinances to try to catch them, but we've had people shimmy the pole and take the camera that we put up. It's a very, very tricky problem, and part of it, like I say, is people don't have trash service whatsoever, and the next part of it is guys trying to make a buck, going to clean out people's garage. It costs $140 to dump at the dump. Since we're here, we do charge $4.50, and I think the public needs to know that, they are charged for us to pick up, various items, so they don't have to necessarily pay somebody to get a couch out or two. They can set it out and call, and we will pick that up. They are paying for that service. I never knew that we were paying for that service. I thought it was something that, we were putting in. But now that we know that, I think it's going to be good for us maybe to put out some information, letting people know, hey, the city does have a service that's offered to you. You're paying for it. So, you can put out 6 items a year, and maybe we need to look at, maybe doing more.
yeah. Thank you for that. And also, I remember when I was sitting out there before I got up here, hearing an idea, I believe it was Alderwoman Conley's, to put a list of approved haulers on our website so that our citizens know if you want your trash actually dumped and not put in someone's alley across town, please use these vendors. I think that would be at least a step in the right direction. Put these bad actors out of business.
Good comments.
People who are.
Anything
yes.
further, Alderwoman Natriano?
No, I believe that's it.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. I'm in full agreement with Alderman Hanauer because along the tracks, because we haven't been able to cut the grass, it's a lot of fly dumping happening right there. And then with us not being behind a little bit on picking up our branches over in Enos Park, they're getting smart and picking up some of the tree branches and fly dumping their stuff underneath it. And it's still just like sitting there and it's accumulating now. And even with our doorbell cameras, we can't really see a license plate of who it is. The last person we looked at, they took their license plate off. So they getting real smart. And then dumping and driving off, and we can't identify who they are. And we pay attention, and Lincoln Park and Enos Park is really good for picking up all of the mattresses and the alleys, and we send about 12 loads over to Public Works, and these people come back and do it again. So the effort of us cleaning it up and bringing 30 people out, it's like they come back and they just dump right away again in 10 days.
When I was with the solid waste crew, they took me to a half a dozen different spots that they regularly have to clean out. It's a truckload of garbage or trash or construction debris. They clean it up. It takes them a long time, and they come back 2 weeks, 10 days later, and the spot's filled with garbage again.
And the neighborhoods are excited about coming out to clean up, but it's very frustrating when we put all these efforts forward to do this and haul it over to our yard, and then these people turn around and do it again. And they do it in the middle of the night when the lights are not on in the alley. Some of the lights are out in the alley, so you still can't see who's doing it. It's a lot of mattresses, tires. People are throwing away their kids' little Mercedes cars and just putting them behind people's garages, and these are older residents and they wake up to go put their trash out in the alley and say, Alderwoman Purchase, I can't pick this stuff up. So it gets a little frustrating, and we do a great job with our public works crews coming out, but something has to give. So I think increasing, if we do find a person, almost $1,000, because the ideal of listing haulers, the point of them fly dumping is so that they don't have to pay.
Yeah, Mr.
So they're doing it on purpose.
Mr. Fuchs, the discussion's been great on this topic. Obviously, it's of interest. We need to do better. I like hearing that the solid waste crews know some of the recurring areas that are problem areas. And the chief did a good job of explaining some of the resources that are available at your department's disposal. You guys and gals could work together. That would be wonderful. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Director. And I think actually this might be something just to kind of build on what Alderman Gregory brought up. And for our new Community Outreach Director, making sure that people understand, A, that there is a program that they can use. It's 6 bulky items. You can do it twice a year. You can do it once a year, and have a more focused outreach effort to really promote that. But also promote the fact that, again, as Alderman Gregory pointed out, there's a tipping fee. So if you're paying someone $100 to clean out your garage, people need to know that you're probably paying to have your stuff dumped in someone else's yard, or in front of someone else's yard, or behind someone's garage. And just give our residents, because people will help regulate this. These are the people that the county has licensed. These are people who are trying to do the right thing. Also, don't expect to have your garage cleaned out for $100. Because if they come and take a whole bunch of stuff out of your garage for $100, that is going into someone else's lot. And that is, you are contributing to more work, more mess for our city. And in the end, you're creating a problem for our other taxpayers. So maybe kind of a combined, yes, outreach, yes, education, but let's educate our residents too and be reasonable about expectations about, the cost of these things. We hear about it ad nauseum. It's been a lot of talk about it, but if we kind of get that word out to people in the community so that it's more of an understanding that, there should be a certain expectation that you do pay to have things taken away. We have a program to do it for you for free, and if you see someone doing it, this is a number you call. This is what you can do to be part of keeping our community clean, because most of the people in this city want to see it clean, and most of the people, I think, will be on board with us. And I am also 100%, when we get an ordinance to raise fines on fly dumping, I would love to co-sponsor that. So, because it's throughout the city. It is not a regional, there's no neighborhood, I think, that's really easily spared from that one.
You're absolutely
As I'm
right.
sure you learn. We can all say that.
Yeah, thank you for those comments and good ideas. Are there any further comments that are germane to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project ordinance that are before us this evening? Alderman Rockford.
No, I was just gonna finish with, and we just need to realize, the Public Works Department puts out 2 trucks, a loader, a total of 4 guys to clean up these messes on a daily basis, and, it's overwhelming. So again, the numbers, the head count, that's gonna be, the directors and the mayor getting together and talking about it. So there's 4 people doing this work throughout the city, so take that in
Good point.
consideration. Thank you.
Good point. Any further discussion on the ordinances before us this evening? Any further discussion? The motion was for the consent agenda. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2023-252, an ordinance authorizing execution of a preliminary engineering services agreement with Hanson Engineering Professional Services Incorporated for a reconfiguration of the interstate at South Grand Avenue and 11th Street and Mill and overlay South Grand Avenue from the east side of 9th Street to the east of 11th Street in the amount not to exceed $270,000 for the Office of Public Works.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion?
I do
Any
got one
discussion?
quick question.
Alderman
Mr.
Gregory.
Chair. Mr. Public Works, Director Fuchs. Mr. Fuchs, on this ordinance in the budget, we put in another $100,000 or so to work on Nate used a fancy word, but it's like HTP, safety improvements, basically lights and turn signals and stuff. Is that included in this?
That
sir?
is included.
Okay.
There's going to be new traffic signals.
Thank
There's going to be a turn lane, addition of a bike lane. And the main reason that Henson is particularly qualified for this because they're working on the high-speed rail and the.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're doing a great job, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-254, an ordinance accepting RFP PW 24-02 with P.H. Broughton and Sons Incorporated and Rayhan Brothers Incorporated, doing business as Sangamo Construction Company for alley and street repairs in the amount not to exceed $600,000 for the Office of Public Works.
So move for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Alderwoman.
Sorry. Thank you, Chair. I think there is a typo on this. So in Section 1, it says not to exceed 1.4 million. I don't know where that number comes from, but I would assume that it's a mistake. Because everything else says 600,000.
This is 1.4 million, yeah.
Mr. Mordock, would you like to check that between the two meetings? And we can, if we need to amend it, we certainly can at the next meeting?
Yeah, we can amend that and get the right numbers in there.
Okay. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Yep.
Good point, good catch. Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. Director Fuchs, can we just have a list of streets and alleys that's currently on the list to be repaired, to know where they're at?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Do we want to leave this on the consent agenda, or do we want to put it on the debate agenda due to the potential amendment forthcoming?
I think we should put it on debate.
Okay, the motion is for the debate agenda. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2023-255, an ordinance authorizing execution of a preliminary engineering agreement with WHKS and Company for the Adloff Lane Road and drainage improvements from project in the amount not to exceed $90,463,000 for the Office of Public Works.
Move to consent.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Williams, seconded by Alderwoman Conley for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion?
Yes, Mr.
Alderman
Chairman.
Williams.
I just want to say, if I could be added as a sponsor, Mr. Clerk.
Yes.
And secondly, Mr. Director, do we have a timeline on this long-awaited project, like when it's?
Well, it's a smaller design project, and there is some drainage issues there, but there's no intersection. As far as that goes, it's I don't want to say a small project, but it's.
Will we get to it this year or not?
My understanding is they will, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Motion is the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-256, an ordinance amending Chapter 95, Section 95.600 of the 1988 City of Springfield Code of Ordinances as amended to prohibit the construction of new potable water supplies with designated boundaries in an area bounded by the east line of 19th Street and the east side of 19th Street, several lots south of Hamilton Avenue west of Indiana Street and Ohio Avenue, and north of Moffett Avenue.
Move to consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2023-257, a resolution adopting the Sangamon County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan update.
Okay, and as promised, if we can have a motion for discussion first.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second for discussion. As promised, we have Mr. Steve Keenan from the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission here to give a presentation this evening, a brief presentation this evening.
Yes, approximately 5 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sure, thank you for coming.
I'm here, my name is Steve Keenan. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Senior Planner for Land Use. Amongst my other assignments, I'm working on hazard mitigation. That's the plan I'm seeking to describe for you, the process that we went through tonight. So this is for the 2022 Sangamon County Multi-Jurisdictional Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan update. It's important to understand what hazard mitigation is. FEMA defines that as any sustained action taken to reduce or eliminate the long-term risk to human life and properties from hazards and their effects. But what FEMA is really looking to do with these plans is to reduce the effects of disasters before they happen. Flood mitigation buyouts. constructing community shelters for mobile home parks, these sorts of things. You try and take a look at what can happen to reduce disaster effects before they occur. Why do we want to have a hazard mitigation plan? Well, it's required under federal law. We have a plan so that you can have compliance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 or the listed programs that are up there. In essence, it is a checklist. It's a box that you check when you apply for certain grants. The biggest one that's had billion-dollar pots in the last several years, if you will, is the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Program, or BRIC program. This is a 75-25 program. Multi-jurisdictional plans are allowed. We had 23 participants in Sangamon counties. These plans last for 5 years. They expired in May of 2022, and FEMA provided a grant for us to be able to fund these updates, which we accepted in 2022. The grant was for $65,000, which is a federal share of $48,000 and a local share of approximately $17,000, which was contributed by task force members' time, efforts, in the planning process. We're looking at having an update to the plan to have continued compliance with DMA 2K. And the biggest thing when you're looking at planning, doing an update, is to ensure that you're taking a look at what has happened since the previous plan occurred. This is in 2017 when the city and other people adopted this. So we looked at what happened with the population trends, demographics. We took a look at new hazards that came to light. We had extensive discussions about the pandemic, the 2020 pandemic, and then we also did a comprehensive reassessment of the mitigation strategies. These are the individual plans that communities come up with. We looked at the goals and objectives, and we modified. We asked each community to make additions, modifications, and deletions to the existing mitigation action items that they would like to see, so to make sure that these plans reflect the political realities that are on the ground. So for the process, we created a new task force. This consisted of the 27 communities in Sangamon County were all asked, of which 21 decided to participate, including Springfield. And then we obtained resolutions from all of the local governments. We had 7 task force meetings throughout 2022 and early 2023. There was a survey where we had 161 responses, quite a few of which were from Springfield. We had a 30-day public comment period. And we had social media, and then we also put the draft plan, which is still on the Sangamon County Hazard Mitigation Plan website. If you Google that, you can find it. That is there. We took all this information, and then we wrote a plan. We presented that to the task force, and it was presented then to FEMA in early spring, earlier this year. The resolution committees are up on the board. I want to give thanks particularly to Nate Bottom. He was the city's representative, and he did a lot of homework and worked very tirelessly on a lot of different projects throughout the planning process. So I want to thank him publicly for all of his work, and the Public Works staff for what they have done working through this process. We also had other people who were listed up on the board. There was 26 other participating bodies. These were academic, nonprofit, governmental, and various different entities of the state and local governments who have interests in hazard mitigation. The plan is very modular. It has 6 sections. There is an introduction where we talked about background. There's a planning process where we talk about all the different public participation opportunities throughout the process. We had risk assessment where we talked about 11 different hazards and what they brought to the fore and what were the probabilities that these might occur in the future. We talked a little bit about the mitigation strategy, and then there's an implementation section that talks about a work group that'll meet a couple times a year, and an appendix that has a lot of information for FEMA. We've gone through the first 4 steps in the process tonight. We're asking for the city of Springfield to look at approval of the plan, and the plan will be reassessed annually by a work group that meets twice a year and then revised in another 5 years. I'll be back before this board again to ask for your approval. The FEMA's approved the plan, Region 5, approved it in early April, and the next step is for the communities participating in the plan each to adopt it. So what we're requesting is that the Sangamon County, the City Council pass the Resolution 2023-257 at its next available opportunity. So with that, Mr. Chair, I tender and I thank you and ask if there's any questions.
Well, thank you for that update. Any questions? Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. Yes. So the 2-year assessment, what task members who do you have on that?
In the past, Nate Bottom has represented for the city of Springfield, and generally those are the same members who are the task force members. So it varies by community. And then we usually will put so it'll be the 23 participating communities, and then we've also put in the Springfield Area Home Builders Association has historically agreed to serve with this group too, and they are listed in the current plan as well.
So the Home Builders Association is the only outside organization other than municipal representatives?
Correct. That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further
No more
questions or comments
questions.
for Mr. Keenan?
Motion for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Keenan, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Clerk.
General City Business, 2023-258.
Excuse me, Mr. Clerk. Alderman Hanauer.
I would like to do an omnibus vote on 2023-258 to 2023-262
Second.
For the debate agenda.
for the debate agenda, yes.
Motion and a second for an omnibus vote for agenda items number 2023-258 through 262.
We'll have to make the motion for debate after
Right.
we approve it.
Is there, all those in favor, any discussion on the omnibus vote? Alderman Gregory.
I just have some quick questions. So this Regional Planning Commission, I'm not in full understanding of. I haven't took the time. I know Alderman Williams was on that, correct, last time? And
Hanauer, myself, and
okay. So can we, can we look at selecting somebody else besides maybe Alderman Hanauer? And the reason why I say that, Alderman, is because I feel like your ward is represented well. It's growing well. And this particular ward, I won't speak for anybody else's ward, but this particular ward is suffering. And I'm not vouching for me to be on there. I really don't care. I really don't have that much time. But I do want, even if we go forward, I'm sure the votes are there. But however this commission does and the planning and all of those things, I hope that the voices of Ward 2 or the struggles of this ward are represented and thought about. Because it's really, really important, and there's a lot of momentum in our community, and I really want to keep it going, so we can see, more and more people thrive in this great city. So, thank you.
Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, my understanding on this, and I could be wrong, but the reason why I was appointed was, I think when originally Alderman Williams was going to be appointed, we found out that it had to be one of each party. So,
Well, ain't y'all the same party?
huh?
really?
Come on.
What? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. I don't really.
I mean, but so, the other aspect is this committee meets at 9:30 in the morning, so it's tough for people that do have jobs. I don't care if somebody wants to take my place, they're more than welcome to, but I believe we have to have a Republican and Democrat on it. And I'm the Republican on it, so that's the way it sits, so.
Okay, any further discussion on these? Now, the issue before us is to do an omnibus vote. All those in favor of an omnibus vote signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for debate.
second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. All those, any discussion? Mr. Clerk, I think you probably better read the ordinances
I think
first,
so.
right?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2023-258, an ordinance approving the appointment of James A. Sullivan as Information Systems Division Director. 2023-259, an ordinance approving the appointment of Gregory E. Mordock as Corporation Counsel. 2023-260, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Alderman Ralph Hanauer to serve on the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. 2023-261, an ordinance approving the appointment of Alderwoman Lakeisha Purchase to serve as the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. 2023-262, an ordinance approving the appointment of Gregory C. Talley as Executive Director of Oak Ridge Cemetery for the Office of Public Works.
There's a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. Any discussion? Any further discussion?
Is Mr. Talley here? Because I haven't had a chance to meet him.
Mr. Talley, if you'll come to the podium and introduce yourself, please.
Been vouched for by a very good guy.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Greg Talley, and I am honored to receive the appointment as Executive Director of Oak Ridge Cemetery. This is quite an honor for me. To give you a little bit of background, I've been a resident of Springfield since 1987. My wife and I have been married just under 34 years and have raised our 2 children here. We have a 28-year-old daughter and a 25-year-old son who work in the city and live here as well. I enjoy the city. I love Springfield. When I was younger, never thought I'd move here, but got here and realized that this city is wonderful. It's large enough to offer everything we need and small enough that it still gives you a small-town feel, which I like. Oak Ridge Cemetery, I've been out there several times for different events, and it gives you a feeling like no other every time you go through. So it's a great honor for me to be a part of the cemetery and to assume the position of executive director. I know you all have probably seen the qualifications on the piece of paper. I feel that my long and diverse experience sets me up well and meshes well with this position. I believe all my previous things bring a lot to this position, and I think that I will be doing a very good job. Something that I didn't take lightly when Mayor Busher did approach me. I did meet with Interim Director Lellis several times to make sure this was something that I thought would be a good fit for me, so that I could make the decision that this would be something that I wanted to do. And I also wanted to meet with Director Lellis because I wanted his endorsement as well. I wanted him to know who I was, my past, and what I have to offer. So I look forward to working with the council. I look forward to working with the mayor. I look forward to working with the board of Oak Ridge Cemetery and continuing the great things that happen out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Any questions? Comments? I will mention that Mr. Sullivan for the Information Systems Division Director position is out ill today. He is watching, I'm sure, and we all have access to his phone number. If you have any questions, he intends on being here next week. You're welcome to call him in the interim, or he'll be available here next week. So, okay, the motion is for the debate agenda.
Actually, do we want to allow our corporation counsel to say an introduction about himself too? I don't know if he's.
I don't know about that.
I'll leave that to the chair.
Mr. Murdoch, would you like to say a few words and welcome aboard? And
Still want the job.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm honored to be asked to represent the city and sit up here with all of you. Yes, I do still want the job. I'm into it now for half a month, and I'm enjoying it. But I just want to say that it really is an honor to represent the city of Springfield, my hometown, and I'm excited to get started. I'll tell this board what I told Chatham and Auburn and Assumption when I started representing them. Integrity, accuracy, and communication form the foundation of my practice, and I hope to extend that to all of you. Please feel free. You have my contact information. Reach out to me anytime. When your constituents start reaching out to you between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday, we can revisit that arrangement, but until then, I am always available. So please feel free to contact me, and I look forward to working with all of you and representing the city.
Thank you, Mr. Murdoch. We appreciate your interest and willingness to come aboard, and welcome to God's country. Mr. Gregory, Alderman Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quickly, Mr. Murdoch, do you have a preference on how you want ordinances sent to you? Is email fine and all of those things for you?
Yeah, yes, you can email me.
All right, thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the debate agenda for these ordinances signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2023-263, an ordinance amending Chapter 99, Sections 99.29 and 99.34, A, B, C, D of the 1988 Springfield Code of Ordinances as amended pertaining to excavations.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Alderwoman Conley.
Yes, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor for this, please.
Great.
Clerk's office, did you get that?
I did.
Okay. Thank you, Alderwoman.
And thank you, Alderman Hanauer, for getting this going.
Alderman Hanauer.
Just to give a quick synopsis of this, this actually, I submitted it long time ago, I think last summer, and, you know, with Mr. Zirkle was extremely busy this past year, and it kind of, we just kind of held it and all that. But what happened is we started seeing some companies come in and core drilling, horizontal drilling, and we were running into issues with poor communication, poor notification. So this kind of beefs that up. Not only do they have to talk to, when someone's doing work like that, not only do they have to notify the person whose yard they're working in, but they also have to notify the neighbors. That they were kind of doing it, but they weren't. Let's just say it looked more like a marketing flyer that they were putting on the door than an actual notification. And then what the biggest complaint we were getting was, after the work was done, they weren't cleaning up and restoring the property quick enough. And so part of this is a lawn restoration deal where they have a week to fill the hole. They got so much time to lay sod or seed. They got so much time to replace landscaping and whatnot. So, it's not perfect. It's a start, and hopefully it'll give these guys more of an idea they got to finish their business. So, if you haven't had horizontal drilling done through I-3 broadband or through AT&T is the two that's noted the most, I can tell you that you will find out as soon as they're in your ward, because you will get phone calls. And it is because of the lack of notification that people, and they're out there digging a big old hole in someone's front yard, and people get very irritated very quick. So I know Alderwoman Conley's had them in her ward. I know they've been in Ward 7. I'm not sure if they've been in 9 yet. I think
Twice.
Yeah. And so, this is just a way to try to hold them accountable to getting some things done. So, thank you.
Alderman Williams.
Yeah, my only question would be, Alderman, is did you say neighbors? They notify you that they're digging in your yard, but they would also have to notify your neighbors?
The neighbors, yeah, that they're
Can
what
you
they
elaborate on that?
Well, because what they do is, so they'll dig a hole, and then they'll run that horizontal boring, and it actually goes under neighbors' houses, and then down the road, down the block, they'll dig another hole where the bit comes up. And then they put conduit through there. Well, they were notifying, again, very poorly, the persons who they were digging in, but they weren't letting people know. And we've had situations where they ran through, they've ran through sprinkler systems. They ran through sewer pipes, backed up the basements, just all kinds of different issues. And what this does is this requires them to let the neighbors know that they're going to be doing work, through their yard.
So the notification more or less doesn't pertain into permission. It's just pertaining to, I'm aware. If Rockford's doing something and it's going to come under my property, you guys will just make me aware, or will I have the ability to say, no, Larry, you can't do it? And
Now,
I
keep
don't know
in
if
mind,
that turns legal or what,
This is made more for the broadband folks. AT&T is one of them that we've had out there. We've also had I-3 broadband. We cannot, my understanding, according to Mr. Zirkle, we as a city cannot block them from upgrading broadband or installing broadband.
The person or the company?
Company.
The company, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we cannot block that.
Okay.
I don't think a person is going to be core drilling or horizontal drilling.
Yeah.
That's pretty expensive work. And but I mean, I think this will. I'm hoping this will do better, make them do better on the notification. And then the other part that people get really upset with is when there's a hole in their yard and they just won't come back, and they won't come back, or there's a pile of dirt, and this kind of pushes them to get it done within a specific period of time.
I appreciate that. I just was trying to make sure my neighbor don't get this
Yeah,
stop,
no,
that kind of thing, Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. And I have a question for Corporation Counsel or acting. And Alderman Hanauer, I apologize for not bringing this up with you earlier. So one of the issues that's come up in my ward with this type of activity is potential damage to trees on the city's property. And, you know, some of that damage, especially if it's root damage, may not be noticeable within the timeframes that are proposed in this ordinance. So do we have the ability to include a provision that would require longer-term monitoring for trees that have been potentially impacted by this activity?
Well, we could include that, but that would be more an enforcement side from the city. So unless you're wanting to require the actual company itself to monitor the trees, it would be incumbent upon us to actually do the monitoring. But we could put a provision in there that would allow for responsibility for damage to trees, which is what I think you're getting at.
Yes.
So we would do the monitoring to see if damage occurred, but that could be added to this.
I would like, if we could have something like that, and I understand, you know, trees can get impacted by in all sorts of ways, but, you know, when you have a tree that's been established for 30 to 50 years, and then 6 months after someone's come and done this kind of drilling activity, all of a sudden it's dropping branches and really showing signs of extreme stress, you know, especially when they're on the city's property, that is something, and our arborist has been fabulous about helping with this, but it's something that we're responsible for. But if we could have a provision in there that would include, you know, if the city determines after some sort of, you know, monitoring that we can assign, you know, that this drilling impacted a tree to the point where it had to be removed. I would like to have something like that included.
We can add that language.
I'm not quite sure how you would add that language. I'll let you sort that out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, just as a point of clarification, I would hope that language wouldn't mandate that we have to be monitoring every single broadband project. Because
no, it's just,
and I know you didn't mean that. I just wanted to be clear in case somebody thinks that, because it would just be overwhelming. So, but I think your idea about the language I heard you talk about it makes sense, common sense, actually. So thank you.
Yeah, just something that allows, you know, if our arborist or, you know, and because I can promise you in my ward, people will let me know when their trees aren't looking good.
Right.
And we have a tree commission that stays on top of that. So just something that allows us a longer term arm that we can go back to these companies if if it looks like they have had an impact. And again, I'm going to let you be creative in how that will be worded.
If you think you could get the language by next week, I'll go to debate on it and we can just modify it if you don't mind, Corporation Counsel, and we can. You think that's doable, or?
Yeah, we can get that done and have the language ready for you. I don't think it's going to be an extensive revision.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
To debate, and I will take, if anybody else wants to jump in as co-sponsors, I'm more than happy to have you, so feel
As long as you
free.
don't cause as much trouble as I did, right?
Okay, the motions for the debate agenda. Is there a second? There's a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2023-264, an ordinance repealing Ordinance 107-03-2020 and adopting an ordinance authorizing signing of checks drawn on city funds.
Motion for consent?
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-265, an ordinance authorizing payment of $40,000 for a settlement of Sangamon County Circuit Court Case 21-L-0172, Angela Harlow versus Michael Reedy Jr. and the City of Springfield.
Motion for consent?
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-266, an ordinance authorizing payment of $70,000 for settlement of Central District of Illinois Federal Court Case 20-CV-3145, Alfred Claiborne and Andrea Early versus the City of Springfield, Ryan Maddox and Michael Brown.
Motion for consent?
Second. Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-267, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 20 radar feedback signs from TAPCO for $57,200 under FSSI Joint Purchasing Contract Number GS-07F-0234U for the Springfield Police Department.
Move for consent.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-268, an ordinance amending Chapter 34, Section 34.15, the 1988 City of Springfield Code of Ordinances as amended relating to the basic training for recruits.
Consent.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-269, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a proposal from the Emergency Services Organization, ESO, in an amount not to exceed $89,063 for the Springfield Fire Department.
Consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-270, an ordinance authorizing acceptance and execution of grant number 35380001K in the amount of $1,200,000 from the Illinois Department of Public Health under the Comprehensive Lead Education Reduction and Window Replacement Clear-Win-2023 program and authorizing a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $1,200,000 for the Office of Planning and Economic
Consent.
Development.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Mr. Griffin? Clarification, it's $1,200,000 for the record. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, who made the motion and the second?
I made the motion.
I made the second.
Thank you.
Motion by Alderman Redpath, seconded by Alderman Gregory. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2023-271, an ordinance authorizing reclassification of budget lines that house HUD grant activities into the corporate fund for the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion for debate.
Debate.
Motion for the debate agenda. Is there a second? Is there a second for the debate agenda?
Second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. Any discussion? Alderman Gregory.
My only questions was really why we're moving this from economic development into our corporate fund, and how we will keep track of what's spent out of there and things of that nature. So I definitely have a meeting tomorrow, and I'll discuss those matters, but I do plan on supporting this once I understand it more clearly. Thank you.
Okay, so do we need to call up one of the directors, or are you going to? Okay. Motion is for the debate agenda. Motion to second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Okay, Mr. Clerk, I believe that's the end of the ordinances on the agenda this evening. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, any unfinished business to come before the committee of the whole? Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. Just from hearing the discussion today about all the fly dumping, I was wondering if our communications director, Ms. Haley, if we can put something out for social media and in this week's newsletter, just to share what the resources are, who you can contact, and just the rules. And I would be more than happy to share them everywhere. Thank you.
Good idea. Any further unfinished
Yeah,
business?
so if,
Alderman Williams.
Chief, if y'all gonna give money out, I mean, I'd already turned in 3 people. Oh, do I qualify? For the,
Your crime stuff.
yeah, Chuck, that's your, can we get it?
What's that?
Crime Stoppers. Fly dumping.
Yeah.
We'll talk, Chief. Thank you.
We don't want your name.
We don't want
I
you
think,
to
Well, it's too late.
I think you'd be happy just getting things cleaned up. I know you well enough, so. Any further unfinished business? Any further unfinished business? Hearing none. Any new business to come before the committee? Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. And I would just like to extend my thanks again to Chief Scarlett and the police officers who participated in the neighborhood walk in Ward 8 last night. I had the pleasure of spending more than an hour. Chief, I want you to know Officer Sullivan was the last officer to leave the neighborhood. But just getting to know the neighbors in a neighborhood, a larger area in Ward 8. Public Works Director, just so you know, Lots of compliments on the alley work in my ward. It's very appreciated when our Public Works Director, our Public Works cleans up those alleys and gets them drivable and safe. But also, a lot of appreciation was expressed. We were fortunate to have Amanda from the Behavioral Health Services, part of our mental health initiative with the police department, to have a worker, a qualified mental health, behavior health specialist with our police department. And I will tell you, Chief, people were extraordinarily appreciative of that, recognizing the importance of having someone with those specific skills to provide that de-escalation and support to our department. So I just want to, again, thank you for building on that initiative and for taking your time and your officer's time, and Mayor Boucher, for you taking your time. I think I waved at you. I don't know if I actually saw you. I was running, I had to come from work, but I just want to appreciate and let you know how many community members appreciate that nuanced approach that you're bringing to our police department.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for those comments. I appreciate that. And it's been my commitment to everyone within the city and every alder person that community engagement is something that's near and dear to my heart, and that was a perfect example of one way that we can go about that. Obviously, we'll be participating in Juneteenth coming up and various other events. And again, throughout the budget time, we've talked a lot about grants and a lot about money coming our way as it pertains to co-responder model, and you got to see that firsthand with Memorial Behavioral Health employee riding with our officers who can respond into the field when we have those mental health crisis calls that, quite frankly, our officers aren't equipped to handle, and that's why we have specialists that can handle those. Again, that's just a model that we're committed to, and we'll continue to hope the council continues to support that moving forward.
And I want to let you know, I want to let council members know too, because this is something that we have to support financially when it comes to budget time, also in addition to grant fundings. But, Officer Sullivan spoke about a situation recently with someone who was experiencing a fairly extreme mental health situation, but our behavior health specialist was on scene and through using those skills and working with this person, was able to bring them in. No hands were put on them. They came in willingly. It took some time, but we had someone with that background and advanced training to be able to de-escalate and keep everyone safe and get that person who was experiencing a crisis into the resources that they needed. And so again, it's a different mindset, I think, in some ways, but I certainly appreciate your willingness to continue with this and our officers to work with you, and Memorial Behavioral Health to be such a strong partner for this community.
It's a great partnership, and I will say this, our officers wholeheartedly support this program because they recognize there are folks that have the skill set to deal with individuals, and quite frankly, just showing up in this uniform sometimes creates that sort of animosity with folks that we deal with. So having someone who's not in uniform, who's especially trained in that field, is a huge asset to our team.
Absolutely, and thank you very much again. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Alderman Gregory.
Thank you. I just want to, I'm just going to end on a great note tonight. I'll deal with some other things. But Thursday is Levitt. I'll be hosting that as part of our Juneteenth celebration. And I'm very, very happy and energized of what I see around the city with Juneteenth. I know there's one out there in Ward 1 event. I know Alderwoman Purchase has events. And for us on this body, after we enjoy this great holiday, we passed it here, Council, after we enjoy this great holiday, I want us to absorb that. And I'm passionate about it because, our ancestors are very, very resilient to even make it here, for me to be here. So, I guess I'm saying, to make it short, that let's not let this holiday be just a symbolic one. Let's really, really, really try to dig into the true issues, especially in this community that I represent. And I have to say these things because it's very, very important. And I just don't want this holiday to pass without us really putting some true thought in on how we move forward for communities like the one I represent. Thank you.
Very well put. Alderwoman Natriano.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to share some information. A representative from the Phoenix Center reached out to me to let me know that the overdose rate is up in our community right now, and that the Phoenix Center does have Narcan boxes available to place in businesses, either inside and outside, for folks to use. Phoenix Center is open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. On another note pertaining to Juneteenth, we also have, she's one of my MPOs, Officer Fluke. She's having a candlelight event on Friday at Union Square, and it's at 8 p.m., and this is for loved ones who was lost due to gun violence. So I want to encourage everyone after they attend the NAOR event for Juneteenth to come right on over and don't go home yet. And then, like Alderman Gregory said, I'm excited because I think it starts with our youth. And on Monday, we're going to have a whole exhibit for Juneteenth, and I'm doing crafts with the kids and also reading. And kids are very smart. They'll tell me what the book means before I open it up, just from looking at the pictures and the illustrations. So I'm excited to share with our youth about Juneteenth and our seniors on Thursday too with the organizers. So we're hitting every pocket and not forgetting anyone. So I encourage, as always, my colleagues to join too this whole entire weekend. We have lots going on until Monday evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any further new business to come before the committee? Seeing none. Any citizens to request to address the committee, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, Harrison Beeler, Sr.
Shall I run out? No, not yet. I'm Harrison Beeler. I want to thank God and Christ Jesus for letting me come up here and speak to you guys today. Good evening, Mayor, Council Member. I'm Harrison Beeler, Senior, Ward 2, PC 77. Thank you for allowing me to voice concerns for the community that I represent and live in. Two subjects I would like to address. One, the Far East TIF Rehab Program application. I was looking at that and going through it, and I noticed that 95% of our garages in Ward 2 are detached garage. They don't have that on there. And I wonder why they didn't do that. They got a attached garage. It's okay if you got attached, but 95% of us don't have that. We go to the alley, get to our garages. You say your alley is clean, ours not. You know, we can't even get down there. I'm not scratching up my car going down the alley to get to the garage. Then also on the application, they don't have the fence upgrade or renewal for fence. You know, divide the property. I mean, it's a rehab program for the exterior and all this stuff here, so that should be on there too, you know, and it's not on there. And the thing that got me on the end there was, why is there the ethic thing on there for a race? Female head of household is on the form. Well, how about the male? I'm a single father of 4. I'm a head of household, so that need to come off. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're married, single, whatever. It shouldn't be on there, you know, as far as I'm concerned. But that's just me, you know, because that like slapped me in my face. What do you mean? A man ain't raising kids? I've raised my kids my whole life. So that was one of the concerns I had on the application. And the second thing, I do street ministry too with Salvation Army, St. Allison Church, St. Agnes, and I go out all over the city. And I noticed there's a migration of new people holding up signs. They're not on the east side, they're on the west side now, okay? They started coming here to Springfield. I asked this here months ago, do you guys have a plan to take care of this? And also, do you have a plan for the existing homeless population that we have? I just heard about it on 10th Street. I go over there all the time, and, you know, we got homeless people all over Springfield. I even go all through the woods and stuff, too. We got one way out there by the fairground. There's camps out there. You guys probably don't know, but I do. I get around the whole city, and I see everything. You know, I even called for
it's not even my ward, but I go down to the mission too, a couple of days out the week and talk to people down there too. And Eldrin, the guy in charge there, he showed me the back part of the mission. And it was just, they had this power box, CWLP power box, and they just made a home around that and had food and everything, clothing stacked up there. But somebody took care of that. You know, I went back and double checked it Friday, it was done. Then we finally got a couple homeless people off the street. One of the main one was on Cook Street between 9th and 11th and 9th Street right there. And I called the city about getting somebody to clean that up because all that stuff is on the sidewalk right there under the bridge. And if somebody could get there and get that cleaned up, it'd be really great. I'm working as a team with Salvation Army also too to get people off the street. And it's kind of hard, and I'm glad the chief said that he have mental health people. I know there's some kind of way that you guys probably could help these people with mental health. It's bad. Either they got a mental health issue, the alcoholic or drug addicts, or they had just fell down their luck, you know. And I thank you guys for that. But I do have ideas for the city to help save some money and make money. But it will rest in your guys' hand how you will handle it. I don't want to give it out right now because I don't want nobody stealing my idea. Okay? You know, I was told to send it to the coordinator, city coordinator, and no, because we used to have, well, I'm just going to say, we used to have a day labor program. You know, we got all these people at the mission all around here could make some money. And we already said that all these branches stuff need to be picked up and flagged up and need to be taken care of. We could do this with some of those people. I have an idea, but we could sit down and talk about it because you guys had the resources to put it on paper. And also with the public work, I'm thinking, I see these guys ride past pile of stuff all the time in their red trucks. Why can't they take a picture of that stuff and pick it up and turn it in? Because they say, oh, we can't do that until they tell us to do it. Well, you're just riding around. Pick it up. You see it, pick it up. Take a picture just like they do when they cut the grass. They take the picture and turn it in and they get paid. Why can't our city workers do that? In that truck. If they see something, a pile of branches or whatever, and they're in that truck, it's not gonna hurt. You don't need a loader to pick up branches thrown there. If you're getting paid for, do your job. Get out there and work.
Mr. Beeler, your time is up, but I want to say this first. I really appreciate you coming down because you obviously care about our community. But before you leave tonight, I want to introduce some people to you so that we can hopefully help address some of these issues, if not all of them. Regarding the application issues that you brought forward, Valley Yazel, the Green, you need to talk to her about that, please. Regarding the homelessness issues, Mr. Posey's in the back. He's the guy wearing the wonderful yellow tie. And regarding if you have specific public works issues with it, either employees or ideas, Mr. Fuchs is here. He's the gentleman over there in the brown jacket. And again, thank you very much for coming this evening, and have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, any further citizens?
Wait, I have raised
Alice
my
Ramey?
hand. I raised my hand.
We got the system.
We would like to respond.
Yeah, I had
Mr.
something
Williams,
from Mr.
Alderman Williams first.
Her B too. So what I would like to say to you, well, he's already talking to who I want him to talk to, but I think we as a council have to look at that. I don't know if Val is going to be able to do anything about it. It's an old issue. It predates this administration. My ward, they drove me around, that dealt with the attached garages. It's because they're older homes.
That's a fair point.
So back then, that's where they used to, how they built them, unattached. But we have people who have applied, and of course, the garage can't get fixed because it's unattached. So if we would, as a council, maybe, if Val identifies she can't do nothing about it, we need to take action to do something about it. As far as the homeless guy, we did get the call. We did go through the channels. The right people know about him. About the group, Chief, I don't know if it's true or not. They say it's a group that comes to Springfield from out of town, and then they have schedules. They go to all these different intersections with these signs. I have never been able to verify that. I mean, I've seen all these new faces, but I don't know if that group is real or not.
We've had issues in the past. I haven't experienced that yet this year, but last year we saw a lot of folks that were what I would call sort of migrant, panhandlers, if you will. That same individuals we identified here in Springfield were up in northern cities and kind of making their way through. So yes, that's a real thing for sure. And I know that Mayor Busher is adamant about us coming up with ideas to address some of the homelessness, but also the panhandling issues, and we're working through some ideas with Public Works as well as Community Relations Division on that as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. And, you know, Chief, Alderman Williams is right. Whether it's a rumor or a fact, that's going around the community where people think that these individuals, or I should say groups, are panhandling throughout the community, and I see them a lot, at least on the major intersections. We passed an ordinance that addressed some of those and named these intersections specifically where it would not be allowed. So I know your officers are on it, but they're still out there for sure. I saw 2 today, actually. Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you. This is for Mr. Beeler. Thank you for coming up and addressing it. I just wanted to say that issue got taken care of within 24 hours. That's in my ward by the Washington Mission that you're talking about and behind. But anytime you see something, please just email us too, because I always CC our Public Works Director. And when we have something serious, we try to get it done very quickly. So thank you for recognizing that too. And that's, you know, to the help of our Public Works Department. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quickly, Mr. Beeler, thank you. You call frequently and you turn in good information. I appreciate all your help in our community. We have made several adjustments to our Far East TIF, and I apologize that we missed those important things. And Ms. Val, I don't know if you need an ordinance or not, but I would be willing to get that ASAP. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you again. Mr. Clerk.
Alice Ramey?
Yes, I have a problem with Poplar Place.
Already?
Okay. They didn't spray it like they said they were going to spray for the bugs and everything before they start tearing it down, okay? And I told the nice gentleman over there, the director, and he went by to look at it. They're putting new roofs on houses that they're tearing down. And when they do the work of tearing out the inside of the houses, it's all like cutting and you hear all the dust. And if it's a windy day, it comes right over because there's, you know, over the place. I've had several people tell me that their kids are starting to cough a lot from that. And I know some of it was from the smoke from Canada, but not every bit of it. And talking about the homeless, it's the people that come and stand on corners. There is a group of them that come from St. Louis and Chicago to come down here, and there's only one man that handles it. And you can see it when they go to Walmart and sit in the parking lot and they give him the money. So that's the way that goes. Also, the attached garages. I've lived there ever since it was built. A lot of houses have attached garages. Some of them have redid them, but they're so small that there's not very much you can do with it. And some of them had small garages that need to be really fixed up. They really do need to be fixed up. And I know that it's hard, and fly dumping is the same thing. And people that take care of their property gets in trouble. I did with my lot. I was sick and I didn't get it mowed. Now it's mowed, I don't have to worry about it, you know. But I do pick up a lot of the trash in my lot and also around where my house. I'm on a curve on Livingston, and when it winds blows, we get all the stuff. It bypasses everybody else's houses. But I want to thank the director, Mr. Dave. Thank you for being prompt on everything you do, because it's really nice to know that you can count on you. If you say 10:30, you're there at 10:30. And I'm sorry I was late, you know. See, I knew I'd get you guys laughing, see? But he does do his job very well. And when you have somebody that does it, then you need to compliment them on it and make them feel that they have accomplished something nice. And I'm beyond giving up my time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carlson.
Real quick, I'll just keep it germane to what Ms. Rainey said, but to add to the list of people you gave, Mr. Beeler, you may want to talk to Josh Shable, Continuum of Care, and the homeless population. He's got a great plan, and a year out, a year and a half out of what to do with the homeless population. And the second thing, I know previous administration, I think there's an ordinance, targeting 15 or 20 different intersections in town for the homeless.
That's what I was referring to.
Right, is there any way to expand that, or can we look to expanding that additional? I've been getting a few phone calls. Is there any way to expand that, or would that be a new ordinance, or
You
what
get
would
6
we need to
votes, you
do?
can expand it.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
That's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson, Alderman Carlson. Good points. Any further citizens to request to address?
Hakeem Lukman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to thank each and every one of you for the job you've been doing, okay? And for the new employees of the city, I'm glad to see some new spaces. Maybe some can be more done now than the last administration. On May 30th of this year, at 1629 North 8th, myself and a couple other friends, we make tables, chairs, rockers out of wood. We cut walnut, ash, birch with the sawmill. Well, we stacked some slabs on the side of the garage there. Without notice from the city or this administration here, they was deliberately picked up by a city worker. We want to know why. Nobody was notified or even given a court hearing. Because each slab runs anywhere from $300, almost $800 a piece. Depends on the thickness of the slab. And the slabs that was there was $300 because they was 3-inch slabs. But that was one of my questions on that. Why was anything picked up off the property?
Well, please address your comments to the chair, and what we will do is I will encourage you to speak with Mr. Fuchs, who is our Public Works Director, and we can see if we can get the answer to your question right away.
Okay. Now, another thing is, when my home was burned down, be coming up 2 years, okay, we had another electrical pole put in, all new wiring for the new home. Well, I've had 2 people now. One was the CWLP worker that went and stated the hot spot was the fault of CWLP. The investigator from Kentucky came in and said the same thing before we even put the new line in. Okay. Then we was told we only had 4 days to destroy and demolish the home after it burned. But the house right across the street burnt down over 20 years ago, and it's still standing. Double standard issue. Why is that one still standing, and I had to demolish ours in 4 days and get rid of it? Is it because possibly of getting rid of evidence that it was the city's fault? I don't know. But that's a good question.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, thanks for coming this evening.
I would like to know an answer from somebody about it.
I believe the departments have discussed this with you multiple times, the fire department and the CWLP, and then correct me if I'm wrong. If you have more questions, I would encourage you to speak with, and they happen to be here this evening. The new fire chief is actually behind you in the white shirt. He's shaking his head. Might be a good place to start. Again, you're always welcome to come and talk about issues, but one thing I would encourage you to do, if you haven't done it already, and maybe you have done this, is whatever ward you live in or wherever these issues occur, please don't hesitate to contact your alderman ahead of time, and or the departments directly. And I'm coming to council is wonderful. Please always feel free to do that, and we'll see if we can get your issues resolved.
Last time I was up here, I gave the alderwoman my phone number so we can get together, and I haven't heard anything yet.
So I'm going to stand corrected.
Alderwoman Purchase?
Yes, and I did reach out to you, and I also stood with you with our previous Public Works Director and our Housing Director, which was Darrell Harris, and he was reaching out to you the following day and followed up with me after he reached out to you. So I'm sorry if you wanted me to follow up behind him, but that's their job. Like you just asked me about, well, not me, but you just addressed us about the items that was picked up on the side of your garage. What I would do is send Director Fuchs an email and ask him what happened. I don't know what happened, so I can't tell you right away. So I just directed you over to the director as well.
Well, I appreciate that, you know. I appreciate everything you're doing for our community and our ward over there, okay? But I would like for you to come by, you know, go through the neighborhood and see what's going on in the neighborhood and talk to the neighbors over there.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and thanks for coming to the committee this evening.
All right.
Debbie
Mr. Clerk,
Roper?
go ahead. And then the next, in the bullpen, we have April Poole from Coral after.
Yes.
That's good. Hi, I'm Debbie Roper. One of my main reasons to be here is that I wanted to tell the mayor that David is doing an awesome job. He goes over and above, and I really appreciate his concern. The other thing I wanted to talk to everyone about is that at least our ward, which is Ward 3, definitely needs the landowner registration so that we can keep up with the yards that get in outrageously bad situations, and we can find the person to talk to take care of that, because we have a lot of rental homes. And for that reason, these landlords are hard to find because there is no registration that they have to fill out so that you know who to contact. So I really think it's important for at least our side of town to have that landlord registration. And I just wanted to let you know how I feel about it, and thank you very much for everything that you do.
Well, thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
April Poole, welcome.
How did you know I was going to talk about coral things? So, April Poole, 3061 Buena Vista Drive, proud North Ender, Ward 4, and proud Twin Lakes resident. I have to keep saying that. Okay, I'm here as the Coral representative. I am the treasurer for the Coalition of Rainbow Alliances. This weekend, after we finish marching in the Juneteenth parade with you all, we will be having the 41st annual Pride Picnic out at Lincoln Park, shelter number 4. It starts at 5 p.m. We will be eating at 6 p.m. Bring a covered dish. We would love to see a lot of you there. I know that we have your support being with Pride and so forth. This is Pride Month, and yes, as you can tell, I am dressed in Pride colors for a reason. Additionally, Coral will be hosting with the Lucky Horseshoes Pride Night at the ballpark. It is our second annual. There is a parade. I believe most of you have been invited to walk in the parade. I know our Springfield Police Department is walking in the parade with us. All it is you're going from first base to third base. It's not a big deal. If you want to come walk, it's not, it's not a 2-mile hike, okay? It really isn't. So all you got to do is come out and wave. So if you haven't gotten that invitation yet, please talk to me. I'm not in charge of this event, so I'm not sure where everything is. But we have something in Ward 4 and in Ward 5 by doing this. The game is Thursday, June 22nd at 6:30 p.m. So please come out. I believe we are playing the Quincy Gems. Isn't that fun? See, now we get to end on a fun note, okay?
Thank you very much. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you, Ms. Ford.
Mr. Clerk, any further citizens' requests to address the committee?
No one has signed up.
Okay.
Chair.
Is there a
So
need?
moved.
Is there a need for an executive session this evening, Mr. Counselor?
No.
No. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Everybody have a nice evening. Safe.